"You have gathered the traits and persona of cats," said the justice. "But was this all? Absolutely not. Let's dive into the complete story and explore the chilling details of one of the horrifying crimes of our time. There are stories that crawl under your skin. Stories so disturbing that they leave a permanent shadow over your thoughts. And this is one of those stories. Today, we unravel the haunting case of Scarlet Blake, the 26-year-old cat killer whose dark obsession spiraled into something far more sinister. Brace yourselves for a chilling journey into a mind consumed by darkness, cruelty, and twisted desires. It all began on a quiet night in the summer of 2020 in a small town in Minnesota. Scarlet Blake was the kind of person you wouldn't notice on the streets, just another face blending into the crowd. But what was hidden behind those innocent eyes was something few could ever imagine. Beneath her seemingly quiet and normal life, Scarlet harbored an unnatural obsession with power, control, and something much darker. Scarlet, a trans woman, had grown up in a household devoid of warmth. Her upbringing was marked by coldness and isolation. Many speculated later that this environment was what nurtured her growing fascination with control and cruelty. Scarlet's behavior became noticeably strange in early 2021. Neighbors began finding their pets missing, and it wasn't long before they realized that something terrifying was happening in their peaceful neighborhood. Little did they know, Scarlet had begun a horrifying ritual, one that would shock the town to its core. She would lure stray cats into her home, where they met an unspeakable fate. Scarlet became known for torturing these animals in private, filming her cruel actions, and even keeping personal trophies as a way of savoring the power she held over these helpless creatures. It was more than just animal cruelty. Some of those who studied her case later described it as a manifestation of her deeper, twisted fantasies. The cruelty wasn't just about harming animals, it was about control. She would create scenarios that fed her dark desires for domination. Some speculated that these acts of violence were tied to her dark and adult fantasies, but Scarlet never openly admitted to it. Her behavior was a dangerous mix of psychological torment and physical violence. What started as cruel experiments with animals began escalating to something much more dangerous. From all these cases, the cat that drew attention towards this case was the cat of the Seibold family, who were neighbors of Scarlet Blake. What she did to that poor soul cannot be said in this video due to the community guidelines, but that poor soul suffered more than you can ever imagine. At the end, I would just say, close your eyes and imagine the blender as your final place. And while doing all such acts, she recorded herself live, no words. But this was not the end of her cruel fantasies. By River Cherwell at Parsons Pleasure, at about 5:15 in the morning of July 25th, 2021, she also took the life of a cherishable and lovely soul, Mr. Martin Carino, who was a Spanish man working at the mini plant in the city. Later on, his body was discovered in the river. Mr. Martin was described as the kindest person by his ex, Irene Hidalgo. She spoke to him on July 7th, 2021, his birthday, and said that he was positive and looking forward to the future. She remembered the brightness of his eyes, Her grief at the death of the man she had loved was palpable. Mr. Justice Chamberlain said in his sentencing remarks, "In your evidence, you told the jury that you did all this to please Ashlyn Bell and derived no pleasure from it yourself. But wait, who was Ashlyn Bell? She was a trans woman with whom Scarlet built an online relationship. She is the one who received messages from Scarlet on the same date that clearly stated harm and evil plans. Somehow, Scarlet also blamed Ashlyn for all the acts she performed, but this did not help her at all. Ashlyn Bell made confessions to the law department later on, which were contained as information presented to pathologist Dr. Brett Lockyer ahead of him, preparing a further medical report related to this case. Maybe Scarlet would have been set free for this horrifying act. But thanks to the CCTV footage that you can see on the screen now, the lady with the black jacket was identified as Scarlet by her partner, Ashlyn Bell. But this CCTV footage was not the only evidence. A bottle of vodka was found near the riverbank, and her DNA was matched with the fingerprints on the vodka bottle. Although she never stated she did that act, as per her, maybe Mr. Martin was drowned somehow or something else happened to him. The town was gripped by fear, and while rumors circulated, it wasn't until June 2022 that her crimes were brought into the light. Scarlet was arrested after a neighbor tipped off authorities, suspecting something strange when they saw her sneaking around their backyard. When police searched her home, they uncovered a scene far more disturbing than anyone could have predicted. Hidden in her basement were chilling videos documenting her dark acts. Investigators found more than just physical evidence of her cruelty. They found notebooks carefully detailing her thoughts, her fantasies, and her chilling plan to escalate her actions beyond animals. Authorities later revealed that Scarlet had developed a fascination with the idea of inflicting pain on humans. Though no evidence of such crimes was found, it was clear she was planning for it. The trial became a media spectacle in late 2022. People from across the country tuned in to hear the chilling testimonies and see the shocking evidence presented. One of the most disturbing pieces was a diary entry dated May 2022, just weeks before her arrest. In it, she wrote, "I feel nothing. I will do it again. But next time, it won't just be a cat." Despite efforts by her defense team to claim she was a victim of mental illness, the overwhelming evidence and Scarlet's own lack of remorse sealed her fate. After weeks of deliberation, on November 14, 2022, Scarlet Blake was convicted on multiple counts of animal cruelty, murder, and sentenced to 25 years in prison, with no chance of parole for the first 10 years. She will stay in a men's prison as she is a trans woman. Some sentencing remarks by Mr. Justice were, "You told the court that you didn't want to kill a living creature, let alone a person, and it was Ashlyn who pressurized you to do so. You attributed your morbid interests to a split or dissociative personality, using the language of psychiatry or psychoanalysis. You adopted the persona of a cat. You talked about the difficulties you had had since transitioning in childhood to live as a woman, and about your troubled relationship with your parents. All this was part of an elaborate attempt to rationalize what you had done and shift responsibility to others. There is no evidence that you suffer from any relevant mental illness or other mental disorder. What you did is not the fault of a society that didn't accept you. It is not the fault of your parents. Whatever role Ashlyn Bell may have played in encouraging your interest in killing, she remained in the United States. She did not control or direct you. Even if the decision was motivated in part by a desire to please her, the decision to kill was entirely yours. But her story doesn't end there. Even from behind bars, Scarlet's dark influence continues to haunt those who knew her. Letters she wrote in prison were leaked to the public, revealing that her fantasies of control and cruelty remained very much alive. Some say she is simply waiting, planning for the day she can walk free again and fulfill the twisted desires she had once dreamed about. Scarlet Blake may be locked away, but the darkness she carried inside her remains a chilling reminder that not all monsters live in the shadows. Some walk among us, hiding their twisted desires behind the mask of normalcy. And as long as her story is told, we are reminded of the depths that the human mind can sink to when consumed by cruelty and control. Thanks for watching, and let us know your thoughts about this case in the comments below. Was justice fully served or not? See you again.